Okay, so the Boston Tea Party. A lot of stuff is going on in this one. That's why I kind of split up the video to have this start a separate part. So the Boston Tea Party, it says, in the spring of 1773, the tea crisis became worse. Great Britain passed the Tea Act, which stated that only the British East India Company could sell tea in the colonies. The company would not pay tax on tea sold in the colonies, but the colonists would continue to pay a tax on tea. When the colonists heard about the Tea Act, they decided to take action. They believed the tea tax was unjust. They did not want to be forced to buy tea from one company. So think about it, guys. That would be like you being forced to buy one type of soda or one type of video game from one company and that's it. You have no other choices. Okay? So you can see how that's not really that fair. Groups such as the Daughters of Liberty organized boycotts, and the Sons of Liberty continued to protest in Boston. On the morning of December 16, 1773, led by Samuel Adams, the Sons of Liberty planned on an open show of rebellion. That evening, more than 100 men from all walks of life met at Griffin's Wharf on Boston Harbor. Some members of the Sons of Liberty disguised themselves as Mohawk American Indians. The disguises were also symbolic of the fact that the colonists now considered themselves Americans and not British subjects. 3 ships at the wharf carried British tea. The men climbed aboard the ships, broke open the chests of tea, and dumped it into the Boston Harbor. Today, the tea that was destroyed would be worth more than $1 million. This event became known as the Boston Tea Party. $1 million they dumped into the water. Okay? That's a lot of tea, a lot of money. So, our reading checkpoint at the bottom says, use evidence from text, analyze and highlight the causes and immediate effects of the Boston Tea Party. There's a lot of things going on here. Okay, so we're going to start way back up in paragraph 1. Okay, what was one of the first causes of this? Well, Great Britain passed the Tea Act. Now, I somehow lost my highlighter, so I'm going to underline in pen. So there's never an excuse to not be able to do it because you can always underline in pen or a different color, colored pencil. You always have something. Okay? Now, what was the result of this? So the company didn't have to pay tea, but who had to pay the tea tax? Okay, the colonists would continue to pay a tax on the tea. Not exactly fair to them. The company doesn't have to pay the tea tax, but the colonists do. Okay, so in paragraph 2, what did the colonists believe? Okay, paragraph 2 is very long, so we're going to have a lot of information here. What did the colonists believe? Well, they believed that the tea tax was unjust, meaning it was not fair to them. Okay? They thought it was unjust, and why was it unjust? Because this would be the immediate effect of it. They did not want to be forced to buy tea from one company. Okay? And because they didn't want to be forced to buy tea from one company, what happened? Groups such as the Daughters of Liberty organized boycotts. Okay, the Sons of Liberty are still protesting, so that's really not an immediate effect. Okay. What else do we have here? Well, we know the Sons of Liberty, okay, were continuing to protest, so that's not an immediate effect. But what else did the Sons of Liberty decide to do? Well, right here, the Sons of Liberty planned an open show of rebellion. That evening, more than 100 men from all walks of life met at the wharf on Boston Harbor. And what was, the effect of that? Okay. Well, they now saw themselves as Americans. They did not see themselves as British subjects, okay? So the colonists now considered themselves Americans and not British subjects. This is the first true divide, Okay, they're saying, nope, we're not British anymore. We are Americans. We are our own thing. So what else happened? The 3 ships at the wharf carried the British tea. So the men climbed aboard the ships, broke the chest of tea, and dumped it into the Boston Harbor. Okay, a lot going on with the Boston Tea Party. Hopefully when we come back to school, we will actually get to reenact the Boston Tea Party in class. Okay, so get ready to try some tea because we will see you guys back. Okay, all right, let's move on from the Boston Tea Party. Okay, so now we have the course of acts. In response to the Boston Tea Party, the British government passed the Course of Acts of 1774. Course means to force someone to do something. The act shut down Boston Harbor. The British wanted to force Boston to pay for the destroyed tea. The colonists called the acts the Intolerable Acts. Intolerable means it's unbearable. The act shut down Boston's economy and unified the colonists against Britain even more. In addition to paying for the destroyed tea, the Intolerable Act stated that the colonists had to quarter or shelter the British soldiers. So on top of paying all these taxes, now they have to take care of the British soldiers. Okay? Massachusetts was also placed under martial law, which meant that it would be controlled by the British military. Furthermore, any British officials accused of crimes while carrying out their duty as peacekeepers or tax collectors would not be tried in a colonial jury. They would be sent back to Britain for trial. Okay, so you can start seeing that some of this stuff is not quite adding up. Okay, so basically if the British people broke the law, the colonists won't have their fair, trial for them. The person from Britain would get sent back to Britain for their trial. So they may not have actually gotten punished. So our fourth reading checkpoint, it says, analyze how a patriot and a loyalist might have felt about the Intolerable Acts. Write their ideas. Okay, so we have Samuel Adams, who was a patriot, and Thomas Hutchinson, which was a loyalist. Loyalists, okay, means loyal to the crown, okay? Meaning they agreed with the king, okay? Loyalists agree with the king. Patriots are the one who wanted colonists to be on their own, okay? So I want you to think, what might they be saying about what's going on? So loyalists agree with the crown, patriots go against that. Okay, so pause the video, take a few seconds to jot down your ideas, and then we will move on. All right, so we have a picture of the Boston Harbor here, and it says the Boston Port Act, one of the Course of Acts, also called the Intolerable Acts, closed the Boston Harbor until the tea destroyed during the Boston Tea Party was paid for. Now, you can imagine how bad that must be if the harbor shut down. That's where they get all the trade and everything else. Okay? So that's not a good thing. Not a good thing at all. The acts encouraged many colonists to join the cause of the Patriots. Patriots were colonists opposed to Britain's actions and policies. About 1/3 of the colonists were loyalists, or people loyal to Great Britain. Some people remained neutral and did not take a side. The number of neutral colonists decreased as tensions between the countries rose. Okay, so our last reading checkpoint here for this part. Analyze how the Intolerable Acts could have affected the economy and make inferences about the immediate effect on colonists. Don't worry about the turn and talk to a partner unless you would like to share your thoughts with mom, dad, grandma, grandpa, whoever is helping you out. Okay? So, what basically was an effect? How did it affect the economy? Now, if you were paying attention, I kind of gave you something that's affecting the colony when I read this for the picture. Okay? Inferences is making an educated type of guess from the information you have read. All right, so do the 5th reading checkpoint, and then we will have one more part to this lesson, and we will be complete.